evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Trinity Lescalette, the Adult Programming Manager at the Tiffin-Seneca Public Library. So we are continuing the conversation about mental health for our Foundation Speakers series. Each fall, we bring a speaker to our community, and last year that person was Kevin Hines. Kevin is one of the few people who jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge and survived, and he now travels the country talking about suicide and mental health. We hosted several events last fall before and after his visit to create awareness about mental health. And this fall, we are continuing that conversation. Numerous reports have shown that ever since COVID-19 hit, people have experienced increased mental health issues, more anxiety, more depression. And this fall, we are continuing that conversation. So one of the things that's important to both mental and physical health is self-care. Taking care of yourself is important. And so tonight we're going to show you how to put together a self-care kit. First, a few housekeeping things. So to let you know, this presentation is being recorded. So people who can't watch it tonight can go back and watch it later on our Facebook page or YouTube channel. Or maybe you're watching it tonight and you're going to want to do this again with your family or friends later so they can make their own self-care kits. Now, just so you know, your microphones and webcams, they're disabled. So you are not being recorded, just me. Now, if you're joining us through Zoom, we have enabled the Q&A and chat functions, so you can enter any questions or comments into the chat. Jessica, our Information Services Librarian, is here in the room with me tonight, and she's monitoring the chat and the Q&A. So if you hear another voice, it might be hers talking to me. And then she will also be entering some contact information from some of the organizations and resources that we mentioned. And we also have our Facebook live stream being monitored for any questions or comments there as well. We'd just like to remind everyone to please be respectful in your comments. So, taking care of yourself is important for good mental and physical health. And a self-care kit is a box or container filled with objects to comfort you when you're having a bad day or when you're stressed or you're feeling down. Now, we got this idea from the Kirkwood Public Library in Kirkwood, Missouri, and so we just built on that and adapted it for our own use. Self-care kits do not have to be expensive. You can personalize it to what you need to remind yourself that you matter. So, things you'll need to build your kit: some kind of basket, box, bag, or other container to be the kit. Pictures of family, friends, or pets. A glass jar, probably pint size or larger. Things like markers, crayons, scissors, glue, decorative things, stickers, ribbon, bling. And you'll see how we use those throughout the program. We were able to provide some starter kits for the first 25 people that registered. And I'll be going through the items in that kit and explaining what they're for. If you didn't get a kit, don't worry. Most of the items are things that you would have at home. They're inexpensive, and so you could assemble them on your own. And we also have a handout, how to make the kit. One of the projects is on the back. You can stop by the library and pick those up or download them from our website. So the first thing that you need is a container. As I mentioned, you can use a basket, a bag. If you've got one of these storage things, you can get these at the dollar store for $1. Or you can do what I did and just go get an old cardboard box from the basement, and I wrapped it with some extra wrapping paper. And then you can decorate the kit any way that you want. In your starter kits, we gave you a sandwich bag with lots of stickers in it, some old jewelry that you can use to bling up your bag, whatever you like. Or if you have some artistic talents, you can draw your own pictures and designs on there. Or you can cut out some pictures from magazines, things that you like, things that you're interested in. You know, maybe you're a baseball, softball kind of person, or maybe you like motorcycles or trucks, or maybe you want, your favorite athlete. Here's Kevin Durant. I'm putting him on the side of my box. So whatever is important to you, just don't pressure yourself to make it perfect. Look, I ran out of paper. I didn't even cover the bottom of my box. So this is supposed to help you de-stress. So don't worry about your box being perfect. Now, for those of you that registered, your kit came in this bag donated by the Friends of the Tiffin-Seneca Public Library. If you want, you can just keep your items in this kit. Before we go any further, I want to mention that self-care is not just for women, okay? And I want to mention a site in particular called Man Therapy. So it's mantherapy.org. And this is a campaign to reduce the stigma around mental health in the male population. And it is a site that it features this man. It's a fictional therapist named Dr. Rich Mahogany. And he uses his sense of humor and his wit, kind of straightforward, give advice to men. And then there's some funny videos on here. And then there's also resources. One of the things here from Dr. Rich, grilling animal meat, aromatherapy, the way a man would do it. Or here's another saying, you can't fix your mental health with duct tape. So you think, you might know someone, even, a loved one or a friend who's a male that might benefit from this particular approach. We encourage you to check that out at mantherapy.org. So one of the items that you will find in your starter kit is a journal. And journals are a good way to help you express what you're feeling. It's a safe way to get your thoughts on paper. It can be a way to be creative, distract you from stress. And I'm going to quote Dr. Rich Mahogany here from Man Therapy. No one is asking you to be the next Bill Shakespeare, but just writing a simple entry once in a while can make you less stressed, increase your self-esteem, and improve your relationships. So if you want, you can use some of those stickers to decorate your journal, do whatever you want with it. So the next thing that you need is, you cannot use the excuse, I don't have anything to write with, because there are at least 2 pens in your bag, maybe 3. One of those pens is actually from the Factor Support Group. And Factor stands for Families, Addicts, Community Together for Ongoing Recovery. It's a support group here in Tiffin for people in recovery with substance use disorders. There is also a brochure with more information about the program. There is a card with self-care tips, and they have included a bracelet with the words "You Matter" on it to remind you that you matter. Now, I know some of you are going to say, I don't know what to write about. Well, if you look inside your journal, we have included a list of 75 journal prompts for self-care. And you don't have to go in order, but some of them that you might want to start with. Number 20, what are you most grateful for right now? Or number 17, what do you need to let go of? Sometimes you just have to let things be part of the past. Number 51, what have you done lately that you want to brag about? Or number 73, what is causing you stress right now? So no excuses, here's plenty of topics that you can write about. So another thing to have in your self-care kit is some tea, something calming or soothing like chamomile or lavender or jasmine. And we've given you a couple bags of tea there. I put peppermint tea in my self-care kit because it reminds me of my grandpa. He's the one that taught me if you add milk and sugar to the tea, it tastes a lot better. Now, while you're sipping your tea, you can get lost in a book. You can read an old favorite, or you can read a new book. Something to help you take a break from the real world, something to help you escape, distract you from life. Now, in your starter kits, we put 3 books in there. These are advanced copies of books that the publishers send us before the books are actually available to the public. They're not finished copies, so you might find a few mistakes in them. And we cannot add these books to our collection. We can't sell them. We usually just give them away as part of our summer reading program. So we thought we would give them to you this year. Now, if you don't like the book, it's okay. You don't even have to finish it. Just give it to someone else who might enjoy it. Read the book and pass it along. Or you can put one of your favorite books in your self-care kit. One of those books that you've read over and over. And so I'm putting Where the Red Fern Grows in my kit. And if you were looking at this up close, you will see that the edges are worn, the pages are yellow, my sister drew on it in crayon, and the edges are taped. So it's nice to be able to go back to those old favorites. Now, I know not everyone is a reader. Sometimes you'd rather just watch a movie or binge watch some TV for self-care. So we've placed a DVD in each of your starter kits. When we have extra copies of DVDs and we take them out of the library collection, normally they go into the Friends of the Library book sale. And the Friends of the Library uses that money to support special projects at the library. Well, since we were unable to have the book sale this year, we decided to give you each a DVD to enjoy. And again, if it's not your taste, just pass it on to someone else that might enjoy it. Another thing that you could do is put one of your old favorite DVDs in your self-care bag. Or in my case, I don't have many DVDs, but I've got some VHS tapes and a VCR to play them on. So it might be Hoosiers, The Breakfast Club, or Coal Miner's Daughter. Those are all movies that bring back good memories. Now, another essential item for your self-care kit is snacks or comfort food. Just make sure that they're non-perishable. You don't want any rotten food in your self-care kit. So we've given you some graham crackers and some cookies and other snacks. Personally, I'm keeping a bag of Cheetos in my self-care kit. Something else you might do is maybe include a recipe card, a favorite recipe or something that has a special memory. Some people like to bake to de-stress. Now, other people, baking might cause you a lot of stress. But if you don't like to cook, you could always try this recipe. This is a recipe for a good day, and this was given to us by Leah Frank of Higher Ground Counseling Center. And there's also a brochure about her services and another pen for you to write in your journal with in your bag. But in this recipe for a good day, some of the things that you need are some exercise, healthy eating, sleep, baby medications if you've been prescribed those to help keep you stable, some kind of work or productive activity, some play, some time to socialize and be around others, some time to be alone, and then just a reminder, take some time each day to be thankful for the things that we have. So there's a good recipe to follow. Another thing that we've included in your self-care kit is this stressful day to-do list. So it has things that you can do when you're feeling stressed, like look at some pretty art, or listen to happy tunes. So you can put together a playlist of songs that help you feel better, which could lead to dancing, which is also a great way to de-stress. Another thing on here is to call up a friend. And when we had our program a couple weeks ago, Dr. Megan McBride suggested keeping a list of your friends handy. Now, I know most of us have cell phones and we've programmed everyone's numbers in there. We don't always remember them. So I made a list of friends that I could call along with their phone numbers. And sometimes it's just good to see that in writing. If you're looking through your self-care kit, you think, oh, I haven't talked to my friend Shirley for a while. I'm going to give her a call. Now, another thing we put in your kit is this self-care calendar for September. And so it has different activities you can do each day for the month of September to practice self-care. So September 22nd, which is today, look at photos from a time with happy memories. So one of the things that I suggested having for your kit were pictures of family, of friends, of pets. And so I've got a picture here of my nieces and nephews. And when you have these pictures right in your self-care kit, it's a quick way to remind you that there are people or animals out there who care about you. Something else that you can keep in your self-care kit to help you de-stress is some coloring pages. And you might want to add your own markers or colored pencils or good old-fashioned crayons. But coloring is a great way to de-stress, to soothe you. It distracts you. You can just focus on the picture and the lines in front of you. So we've included a couple of pages, coloring pages, in your kit to get you started. Now, sometimes you just need a good cry. So we've given you a packet of tissues for those days. Crying is a healthy way to express your emotions. So you're prepared on those days. Another thing that can help you de-stress is a worry stone. So if you dig through your bag, you'll find worry stones in there. And just rubbing the stone between your thumb and your 4 fingers is just a relaxing motion. Now, these worry stones were made by students at the Heidelberg University in their graduate counseling program. So they've painted these stones, they've written inspirational messages on them, and we're really happy that they were able to do this. They participated in a lot of our events last year, and so we're glad that they were able to be part of this year's event by making these worry stones for you. Now, similar to a worry stone is a stress ball. Okay, having that stress ball that you can just squish between your fists and ease some of the tension or stress you might be going through. This one, the purple one, is a brain, and Rigel Recovery Services gave you each one of these. And Rigel Recovery Services provide substance abuse treatment as well as mental health services. And there's also a brochure here with more information and their contact information. And you might not need this right now, but maybe you or a family member or friend needs it at some point in the future. It's good to have all these items in your kit because you're not rummaging around your house through the junk drawer trying to find the information. It's all right there where you need it. Now, you also have another stress ball, this red and white one. It is actually like a giant pill, and this is from CARSA. CARSA stands for Community Action for Reducing Substance Abuse. And one of the things that they emphasize, in addition to safe disposal of your prescription medications, is just talking, starting the conversation, especially with adults and children or grandchildren, family members. Start talking about drug use, tobacco use, vaping, talk about suicide, talk about mental health. Just important to get those conversations started. And they've also given you a card. It says words matter to reduce stigma. And this is a list of terms that we say sometimes that have a negative meaning or stereotypes, and it gives you some alternatives to use. So instead of calling someone an addict or a junkie, saying that they have a substance use disorder. It helps to reduce the stigma. And just like anything, we're always learning new things, new terms. It takes a little bit of practice, but once you start using new terms, it gets easier to say it. And if you make a mistake, just correct yourself. Now, another thing that's good to have in your self-care kit are positive notes. Something to remind you that you're loved, that you're valued. Now, these notes, you can write them to yourself, or it might be a note that someone else has given you, or maybe you want to give a note to someone else. It just helps to see that in writing. So you can leave the notes like in a lunchbox, or stick it to the fridge, or maybe to the bathroom mirror. I like to stick notes on the steering wheel of my car to remind me not to forget certain things. So we put a few of these notes in your bags to remind you never give up. Let your light shine. You're special. There's only one of you. And what's better, even better, is we take these notes to pieces of chocolate, because chocolate is another essential item you need in your self-care kit, unless you're allergic or you really don't like chocolate. In that case, feel free to share these with someone else and remind them that they matter. Now, another place that you can put your thoughts, your positive thoughts, is a positivity jar. And on that handout, there's more instructions about this, but a positivity jar is just a place, we borrowed this idea from the Kirkwood Public Library too, is on slips of paper, we write down positive things that have happened, and then we put them in the jar. So when you're having a bad day, you can pull them out, read over them, and remind yourself of the good things in life. So, glass jar, and you can decorate it however you want. Remember that bag with all the stickers and the bling? Go through your ribbon and gift wrap at home. Now, I am not a very crafty person, so this is how I decorate my jar. I just take a colored piece of tissue paper, plop my jar down in the middle, and look, I found this pretty lacy bow that someone else already tied and put on a present that I got. And it fits right around the mouth of this jar. Just fluff it up a little bit, and there's my positivity jar. I said, you could add different decals, stickers to it, whatever you like. Another option would be, again, cut out some pictures from some magazines or the newspaper, things that you enjoy. So maybe it's fishing and you can kind of just glue them on here, make a little collage. Some people like to garden. Got some flower stickers here you could put on this. Personally, I like to mow the lawn. Like, I really do like to mow the lawn. And then here I found a picture. I know a lot of people like to ride four-wheelers or ATVs for fun. So you decorate your jar whichever way that you like. So then, on slips of paper, you write down positive thoughts, positive things that have happened, maybe a favorite quote. And don't tell me that you don't have any paper, because we gave each of you 30 strips of paper to get started. So you're good for a whole month's worth. So let's see. This is what I put in my positivity jar for the last few days. So I put down the date. Last Friday, I got to sit by my nephew and talk to him at a football game. When kids get older, it's not always cool to sit with their aunt. So that was kind of the special night. Then on Saturday, I made pancakes for breakfast. What day is not off to a good start with pancakes? And then on Sunday, I hadn't seen my Aunt Ruth for a while, so I got to sit and talk with her. We were safe, we wore masks, we were socially distanced. So you put those in your jar, and then you need to put the jar someplace that you will see it, so it reminds you to keep putting new positive thoughts in it. So you can put it right in the middle of your kitchen table, and you also have this, it's a beautiful decorative centerpiece as well. And a lot of times we tend to focus on the negative things. But when you start to look for the positive things, you're going to notice them more as you put them in your jar. So some other things here. In each of your bags, you have this purple bag from Firelands Counseling and Recovery Services. And so there's some information in there about their hotlines, the services they provide. There's a bracelet as well. Also information about safely disposing of prescription medications. Another resource that we put in your bag is this card. It has information about the state of Ohio's COVID care line. So if you watch any of the governor's press conferences, he's talked about this many times, understanding that people are struggling with mental health in this time of COVID. So it's a free actually it's an 833 number. You can call and just talk to someone. Some other information in your bag is from the Mental Health and Recovery Services Board of Seneca, Sandusky, and Wyandotte County. A mouthful to say, but they've got some great resources. So there's a brochure in there with more information about what they can provide. You can always call your office, especially if you have questions about a provider or costs or treatment. And they have these handy cards with the 24/7 crisis hotline, as well as the crisis text line. And again, it's good to have all of these resources in one place so you know where they are when you need them. They also have a handout about how to deal with suicide. And there's another stress ball. This one might be the most fun of all of them in your package. It is a taco, and you will see that it says on it, "Let's talk about mental health." So again, a great way to get the conversation going. I have a magnet on my refrigerator, a big magnet with that crisis text line. And why is it there? When my nephews come over, I want them to question it. What's that there for? It's a good way to open up conversations. I've been known to leave flyers about mental health events on the family bulletin board. And then I have my "Are You Okay" shirt. I got this last year when NAMI did the "Are You Okay" training here at the library. This is a program for students, middle school, high school students, on suicide prevention and awareness. And they did this as one of the events here at the library last fall. They also did a program for adults called QPR, Question, Persuade, Refer. And they do these programs, at businesses and organizations, but they've done the Are You Okay program in a lot of local schools. So I knew that they were doing this at my nephew's school, And so this gave me a chance to ask him, hey, what did you think about that presentation? What did you learn from it? And he told me that the week after the presentation, the teachers all got these shirts, and the teachers at Mohawk all wore their shirts on the same day. And that was a really great way to remind students about the assembly, because sometimes they're not always paying attention or remembering. And it was also a great reminder to the students that, hey, your teachers, your counselors are here. They want to know, are you okay? Can they help in some way? So shout out to the staff at Mohawk School for doing that. Now, throughout our presentation, Jessica has been entering all of these organizations and resources, the contact information in the chat. We've also been entering it into the Facebook comments as well. And there's a few other organizations that are really good, like Mental Health America, the Trevor Project, which specifically focuses on resources for LGBTQ youth, and SAMHSA. So you have those to refer to. And we also have our mental health resource page on the library website. You can always go back and get those links from there. So some other things you might be thinking about adding into your self-care kit, maybe a favorite stuffed animal. I was going to bring my teddy bear, but he was kind of big, so I didn't bring him tonight to show you. Maybe you have like a favorite bubble bath or a scented candle, or bubbles. Like some people like to blow bubbles for relaxation, or silly putty. So remember, this kit is what you need, so feel free to customize it. And this is a really great project that you can go back and do with your entire family if they're not watching with you tonight. Or maybe you can do it with your friends over Zoom. And it gives you a chance to talk about, well, why'd you put that on in the kit? Or what's the memory? Why are you including this? So it's a really great thing. If we have any teachers out there watching, this is also a project that you could adapt and do really with students of any age. Now, if any of you get your kits all gussied up and you want to share them with us, please feel free to share it on our Facebook page. Just tag Tiffin-Seneca Public Library. We'd love to see them. Jessica, do we have any comments, questions, or suggestions?
So Kathy thinks there's great ideas for something. Thank you. And I'm not sure if Peyton asked, when do we go back to this? I'm not sure what.
Okay, so Kathy was saying that there's some great ideas in here, in the kits.
Right, and Peyton had a question, when do we go back to this? But I don't know what that is.
Okay, so Peyton, you asked a question and we're not quite sure what it means. So if you want to rewrite that in the chat or the question, we'll try and answer it. Any other questions or comments you're seeing, Jessica? Okay, I'm going to talk to you about a couple other things that we have here, and if any other questions or comments come in, Jessica will let me know that. So last week, our youth services staff here at the library premiered 2 online videos for kids. One of them is a self-care video for teens and tweens. So it focuses on some things for younger kids that they can do, like journaling and a happiness jar to help them when they're having bad days. And then there's also a special online story time on understanding emotions. And so this helps kids how to identify emotions, how to handle them in good ways. So those are on our website, Facebook page, the library YouTube channel. So you can go back and watch those at any time. Any other comments, Jessica? Okay, so we have someone on Facebook suggesting that this was a great idea, coming from one of the people from CARSA who made sure that we had some of these resources. So thank you. We'll keep an eye on that. In the meantime, I want to tell you about a couple more things coming up. So Jessica's going to start the screen share again, so you can see the flyer for the book discussion we're having next week. Kevin Hines wrote a book about his experiences. It's called Cracked, Not Broken. We had a book discussion last year, so if you didn't have time to read the book last year, or you didn't get around to it, you still have time to read it, and you can join us for this book discussion next week. It's a thin book. You should be able to read it by next week, or at least get it started. If you don't get the whole thing finished, that's fine. You can still join us. And we have plenty of copies of the book here at the library to check out. It's available as an audiobook on Hoopla. I just downloaded it to my phone today so I can listen to it again. And then it's also available as an ebook. Next week's event will be on Zoom only, not Facebook, and it will be a Zoom meeting. So you will be able to see the other participants in the discussion if you turn your cameras on. And then coming up on Saturday, October 3rd, is the Max's Miles Suicide Awareness event. This is, in the past, always has been a walk at Hedges Boyer Park. We've had to change things this year. It's going to be at the Mental Health and Recovery Services Board office, which is right next to the Tiffin Moose. And I put a flyer in each of your kits so you have more information about that. And we have more of those in the library in case you didn't get one of the kits. And then we also have, as I mentioned, we have the resources on our webpage. We have 2 displays full of books about various mental health topics here in the library. They're right there when you walk in the door. You'll be able to see those. We are also doing some flashbacks from all of the events we had last year. When Kevin Hines visited Tiffin last year, hundreds of people were able to hear him. He spoke at the Marion Center at Tiffin University. It was standing room only. He spoke to students at Bridges Academy, and then we had 2 months full of mental health events. So we'll be sharing all those pictures with you. Let's check in one more time. Any other questions or comments from anybody? Jessica's checking the chat. Let's see, what do we have?
It was really nice and well done. Thank you. Yay from Stephen.
Okay, so we're hearing some lots of yays and thanks. It appears you like the kits. We're glad to hear that. Anything else?
Sounds great. Thank you for providing.
So lots of great shout outs from those of you attending on Zoom and Facebook. I know they're thanking us for what we do. And I just can't stress, we can't do this without our community partners. You know, all of the organizations that I mentioned tonight dropped off resources. You know, it's our entire community working together, and we're just glad that we can be part of it. Any other final comments or thoughts? Okay, well, thank you all for the positive comments. We're going to wrap things up for tonight. Thank you for watching, and thank you for helping us continue the conversation about mental health. We'll see you next time.